Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Paul Andrigo, realestatePodcastShow.com. Today's episode is very likely the most important podcast you're going to hear in 2026, especially when it refers or when it pertains to the important things to do before you sell your home, especially in the Toronto GTA, but across Ontario. And for that matter, anywhere you're listening to this, whether it's Canada, whether it's the US, having your property featured on this podcast could change your results and could literally lead to a life-changing sale for you. I would say that there is over 1 million reasons that your home needs its own podcast. Today's podcast is about that. Considering the sheer amount of people who are listening to podcasts, we're talking about billions of people around the world that are listening to podcasts. 5 years ago, this message may not have gotten through. 5 years ago, maybe 2 out of 10 people were listening. Fast forward to today, we're talking about 6 out of 10. This is the recent stats that I've read. 6 out of 10 people are listening to podcasts now, and many are listening to a podcast instead of radio. So that tells you that this medium has become something that is far beyond anything else out there, far beyond the traditional real estate listing approach. And no offense to those who are out there doing this, but it's not the best way to get exposure. What I mean by that is those generic listing videos that you'll see that agents are making. Many of them are making these videos as self-promotion. These videos are not about the property. The property is almost always secondary. The agent will be in front of the camera. The agent will be the one on profile. The property is almost always the second character. Let me be very clear with all of you listening across the globe. Your property must be the main character, period. There's no reason for the story of your home to ever be secondary, especially when you're paying an agent, in most cases, a large amount of money. Of course, the more expensive the property, the more you're probably paying them. So it only makes sense that your property should be front and center. When you listen to my podcast, my property podcast, and I'm talking about new listings that have come up, new listings that are on the way, interesting homes. I'll do podcasts about all kinds of properties that are interesting to me, the ones I'm selling, but also the ones that I'm not selling. And the reason for that is because these stories, once they catch on, once they start being listened to and shared, and people start telling their friends about it, your home literally has the chance to become like its own celebrity. And that's so important for you to remember. It's so important, especially now where, again, there's a lot of agents out there who are, who have hundreds of thousands, millions, sometimes followers on Instagram and YouTube and things like that. But if your story is secondary to theirs, you're just going to be another generic listing on the market. I don't want that for you. I want you to remember that your property being featured on the #1 ranked real estate podcast show on Google could be life-changing. Could put more money in your bank account than you ever dreamed. Sign up with me today. The link is in the description. All you need to do is reach out, and I'll take it from there. Thanks for tuning in.